At the end of this weekend, the Prime Minister promises to unveil a comprehensive roadmap of the next stage in our effort against the coronavirus, and in particular of how we are to exit the lockdown. Naturally, this is something that we're all interested in hearing about, but we don't know what he's going to say. Maybe he will indeed give us a comprehensive plan with details about what will happen and when, in order that we might start to make our own plans for some kind of return to normality. But maybe on the other hand, what he will say will be neither comprehensive nor a plan. We just don't know. Suffice to say that I'm not planning on going to a nightclub this week. One of the hardest things that I think for most of us over the last few weeks has been simply not knowing. We've been talking about when we get back to normal, but we don't know how and when that will happen. We have a destination in mind, but we don't know how we can get there. And so all that we can do right now is to trust people we're not used to trusting, and to focus instead on the present moment, on what we're doing now, which, when we've got all sorts of worries about the future, is not an easy thing. In today's Gospel, Jesus' disciples find themselves in a very similar situation. Jesus is talking about the Father's house with its many rooms. He is giving them an idea of a future to which they can all look forward to. And understandably, the disciples want to know more. Tell us about the place where you're going, says Philip and Thomas. How do we get there? We don't know what to do. Perhaps the disciples too want a comprehensive plan. Perhaps they want to know what's happening when, so that they can make their own preparations. And so you can imagine their frustration when Jesus responds. He says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. You need to go through me. You can just imagine them shaking their heads and looking at each other and thinking, well, how's that going to work? Yet for Jesus' disciples, this is the only way. It's only through following him. It's only through taking a path that will lead, to put it mildly, through some difficulty, that they'll be able to get to the place where they're going. While they need to keep their minds firmly fixed on their destination, they need to keep their feet grounded on the path ahead of them. And it's that destination, it's that Father's house that makes it all worthwhile. So where does that leave us right now? Who is our way, our truth, and our life? Whose roadmap should we be following? Well, I know we're all looking forward to what the Prime Minister has to say, but he is not the one, and nor is any other public figure. Jesus, and no other, is our way, our truth, and our life. And so as we prepare to journey out of lockdown to a new and, I hope, a better future, it is Jesus' words and example that we need to follow more than ever. Why? Because it stood us in good stead so far. After all, what is it that's kept us going over the last few weeks? Has it been toilet paper, wine, chocolate? Well, to a certain extent, yes. But it's more than that. I've already spoken about the amount of care that people have shown for their neighbours, the amount of kindness given by strangers, the amount of examples of service and self-sacrifice and selflessness and generosity that we've all seen and that we've all heard of. The many, many ways in which people have, albeit unknowingly, lived out the values of the gospel. It's been this more than anything else that has helped us see ourselves through all of this time. And so as we possibly consider the possibility of moving to another stage on this journey, we need those things, we need those values more than ever. So don't let the prospect of a return to normality cause us to forget the many ways in which we have grown as human beings over the last few weeks. Don't let the lure of the garden centre or even of KFC cause us to ignore the faces of our neighbours. And don't allow our understandable worries and concerns for the future cause us to turn away from the graces that are given to us in the present moment. Jesus is our way, our truth, and our life. He will lead us to the place where we're all going. And so if we want to get there and not risk taking 2 steps forward and 3 steps back, then it is him that we need to follow.